Loop around. Fingers crossed that they're still within Djuma. So, good morning for the second time, apparently. Welcome to a very misty Djuma private game reserve. Even though it's misty, it's quite warm. It's about 17 degrees Celsius, 61 Fahrenheit. Of course, I'm Brent, and I have Dangerous Dave the Dish on camera. And we have Ryan out on the other vehicle with Jamie operating as a GPS and Jean-Andre on camera. And we have the very vocal Geraldine in final control in my ear, as well as Chelsea. So remember, we're live in the middle of the African bush, and please send me questions. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or if you feel like being a little bit more formal, pop me an email to questions@WildEarthTV. Now, thanks to Chris Rogue for all the updates on the lion movements during night. We had 5 lionesses on the Djuma cam, apparently chasing buffalo. And it sounds like, and from the tracks it looks like they managed to jump on one, but not to kill it. And we're busy now checking around for the lions. And just got to talk to Aubrey quickly. Morning, Orbs. Apparently there was Ngala chasing Yari in front of Vuyatela at about 12 o'clock last night. It looks like they went north up the Shkova in front of Vuyatela. Tax isn't out, so I haven't driven there yet. I'm doing Gallagher shortcut. Jamie's doing Vulture's Nest to Central and then Mvubu. Copy out, I think that's a good idea. So, where are you hiding? A bit further away. So we had is this wonderful sort of mournful call. I'm going to switch off the car now. Just see if we can get a view of it. Can you see it, Dave? Can you hear, more important, can you hear it? Just hang on a second. Oh, there, I've got it there. Let's forward a little bit. Okay, so on the edge of that bush there. No. Come out. Yeah. Just through there. I saw movement. So it's a wonderful call. You can hear it. It's a grey-headed bushfrog. In Afrikaans, they're quite often called the spookfall. Oh. Moved. And they're called the spookfall because on these misty mornings like this, it's like a ghost calling. They're quite difficult, like all the bush shrikes, to get on camera. They're serious skulkers. Let's just try one more time to see if we can find him. They are very, very beautiful. There he is. I think he's a little bit...
Just a little bit higher.
No. Oh, there he is. Oh, isn't that beautiful? It's definitely one of the most awesome calls to listen to in the misty morning. So, as I said in Afrikaans, spookfall, the ghost bird. It's just stunning. They're actually quite ferocious. Oh, off he goes. Voracious predators. You can see that massive hooked beak that they use to catch lizards and insects. But what a wonderful way to start the morning with the ghost bird. So now, there's someone you haven't met yet who's just ecstatic to say good morning to you. So let's go meet Ryan.
Well, a very good morning to all of you here at Safari Live. What a pleasure it is to be on this fantastic morning game drive with you. My name's Ryan Nat.Geo, and joining us behind the camera is Jandre, and my navigation system, as Taylor told you yesterday, good old Jamie.
Hi.
So what a pleasure it is to be with you this morning. I'm so glad you found that grey-headed bushshrike. It's a special bird to see. You don't often get to see one of those. You always hear them, hence their Afrikaans name, the spookvoël, which means a ghost bird. So we're on our way now to go look for some lions. Apparently lions were hunting buffalo around the Djuma area, and I'm super excited to try and find them. I actually have goosebumps at this stage. I'm a little bit nervous. This is my first time doing a game drive with Safari Live. If you have any questions, please remember to hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and also questions at WildEarthTV. I want to hear everything you have to ask, and please, we'll see what we can find. So it has rained a little bit last night. We are quite excited. It hasn't rained in quite a few months, as you might all know. The smell in the air is somewhat unusual, as the spores get released from the soils as soon as moisture hits, and it's just a sign of refreshness and joy amongst the animals and trees and birds this morning. So Jamie's going to be telling me where to go this morning, so please just bear with me. We are on a new reserve, or I'm on a new reserve. You met Taylor last night, who gave you a splendid game drive, I believe. So I hope I can live up to your expectations. What a joy. So as we're driving, we are looking for some lion tracks, which I hope we will get to find pretty soon. The older tracks have been washed away by the fresh rain, so if we do pick up on any lion tracks, I will be sure to stop and let you know. So what do you want to see this morning? Let me know, please. I'd love to have some feedback. I know for some of you it's early morning, late afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, but over here right now it's about 15 degrees, 61 Fahrenheit. Beautiful morning, overcast. We might get a bit of rain this afternoon, which we desperately need. I don't think we're going to get too much though, as this cold front passes over South Africa. Well, thank you very much everybody watching. I really appreciate the warm welcome. It's fantastic to be here, and what a privilege it is to share this magic moment with you. Game drives for me are just incredible, and I think one of the most important things is that we get to show you all aspects of the bush, not just the big and hairies, but also the small fauna and flora that allow the big and hairies to survive. The bush is so amazing, and without the soil we wouldn't get certain tree species, without the tree species we wouldn't get certain antelope species, and without those antelope we wouldn't get certain predators. And we're on the Sabi Sands, which is part of the Greater Kruger National Park, which extends 65,000 hectares in acres. That's probably about 130,000 acres, which is part of an area that's about 7 to 8 million acres in size, with absolutely no fences. So animals roam freely on a daily basis, and we get to see them all the time. But it's not like a zoo. We have to really go look for them, and we're going to try. We're going to try to show you what we can find, and hopefully come across some cool things. So as we approach this drainage line, leopards love drainage lines. Good morning, Donna. Donna wants to know where I'm from and what's my favorite animal in the bush. Donna, I grew up in a small town off the east coast of South Africa called Margate. Now, that's not the Margate in England near Kent. It's Margate in KwaZulu-Natal. And I went to school in KwaZulu-Natal at a place called Maritzburg College, and we're going to be actually hosting a little school this morning called St. Benedict's between 8:30 and 9:30. My favorite animal, I enjoy everything about the bush. I'll be quite honest with you, I don't enjoy watching lions sleep. It's like watching wet paint dry. But I do enjoy them going around, walking around, roaring, hunting. Any animal that's doing anything exciting, I love to watch. Even a fork-tailed jongo catching a little cricket or insect. Maybe an elephant drinking water. There's so much to nature that we don't know about. So Donna, I hope that answered your question, and keep them coming, everybody. I hope you send lots more. So Jamie, where do you think these lions are going to be?
I think they're going to be on Bush Road. Hi, morning. Got to be on camera, I need to brush my hair.
Well, I hope we can find one. Good morning, Jennifer. Jennifer wants to see a tiny baby elephant. Well, Jennifer, yesterday we had an amazing sighting with Taylor and Brent with elephants. And I'm hoping we'll get to see some this morning. It's very important that we get to show you what you want to see. So we're approaching Djuma Dam where these lions were yesterday. And we're going to look for these lions. But while we look for these lions, I'm going to hand you over to Brent and see what he has to show you. Enjoy.
Okay, so Ryan's right around the Djuma waterhole where we saw those tracks earlier. I'm taking a bit of a wider stance to see if they've maybe gone up to the north. So far, good news, no tracks. We don't actually want to find tracks in this area because it is quite close to the northern edge of our traverse. But it is actually a beautiful, beautiful morning, even though it's sort of misty. It's going to keep the cameraman busy, but the birds are absolutely loving it this morning. Lots of calling, and we do have the Z150. So while we're looking for lions, I'm definitely going to try put... How many birds do you think we can get on camera today, Dave? 50 species. How's that for a challenge? Oh, Dave's a bit nervous. 50 species. I don't think we've ever done 50 species in a single drive before. So it's a challenge to ourselves. So we've got one, which is the grey-headed bushwhack, which is not one we see too often. Hi, Taffy in Washington State. And just 1 second. Kathy, sorry. Just getting a call on the radio. Nothing further. I'm on the shortcut from the shortcut to Buffelshoek. I'm going to check Buffelshoek to the east. Copy. The last tracks I had were actually at the pan, or heading towards the pan in a northwesterly direction. Sorry about that, Kathy. Now, Kathy is wondering about that incredibly beautiful bird nicknamed the ghost bird, or the spook fool. Spook is ghost in Afrikaans, and fool is bird. And Kathy's wondering, is it a migratory species? Does it move? It isn't. It's a resident species, and she also wants to know whether it's resident over most of South Africa. And it is. If I remember correctly, it just misses a few of the sort of true desert spots, but we'll double check that for you right now. Now, the bushwhack family are incredibly beautiful. The two most common ones we get here . I'm just listening to the radio. So there we go. There's their distribution. They stick to the more moist areas. This is far more arid and dry. And there we go. So, copy, thanks, Orbs. We are about there. So there we go. That's the distribution of the grey-headed bushshrike. So the two bushshrike species we get here is the grey-headed, which is the one we saw this morning, and the orange-breasted. Now, one up. There we go. That one there. So both of them have grey heads and orange breasts, but you can see the orange-breasted doesn't quite have the same grey head, and it doesn't have that yellow eye stripe, or that the grey-headed as opposed to orange bushshrike. And one of the easy distinguishing things, it's a much bigger, and also the yellow eye as opposed to the dark eye. Very cool. Now, hopefully, we get to see the orange-breasted this morning as well. We do have other possibilities, but I've never. Is it going to make tracking more difficult or easier? Well, we didn't really. I think we probably didn't even get it. Sorry. Terrible lions. Okay, copy, thanks, Orbs. So they've came in, chased buffalo around, then the buffalo were very rude and they ran across our northern boundary. So the lions followed them there, so I'm going to actually change my route yet again. And I'm going to go see if we... Oh, what's that? You see that, Dave? On down the road in the distance. I saw something crossing. Oh, it's Impala. Darn it. I just saw movement. Now that is, you can see how far away that is. That's really far away. So it always pays to check those little half chances out in the bush. But I must say, I am really loving this weather this morning. And hopefully the cats are still on the move. So we're going to keep checking down towards Buffelshoek Dam, that area. So they could have chased the buffalo up and down along our northern boundary. And if we got nothing there, then we'll head south and see what we can find. Oh. Whoa. Hello. It's not the best view. They are inside Buffelshoek, but there's quite a big herd of wildebeest. I haven't seen a nice big herd of wildebeest for a while. Here's one of this year's babies. That's how quickly they've grown. Now this tiny little bit of moisture will cause a little bit of flush on certain of the grass species. Not much, but animals like wildebeest, zebra, and all the other grazers are really going to take advantage. Gnu. So, of course, wildebeest are also called gnu's, and they're called gnu's from the sound they make. Gnu, gnu, gnu. Now, it's quite funny. You can get wildebeest to snort quite easily. You just go. Are you supposed to snort back, Wildy? Obviously, my wildebeest is a bit out of practice. But a shame. We're going to leave them to carry on their grazing, and we're going to keep checking to see if we can find these lions. So while we head east down the Buffelshoek cut line, let's go find out how Ryan's endeavours are faring.
Well, Brent, 50 birds in one morning, that's quite ambitious on a winter's morning, but good luck. I hope you get to find them. It's not impossible. I'm sure you will manage quite well. So this morning we are going to head in a southerly direction. I think those lines have crossed over. So let's go look for some more exciting things. One thing I wanted to emphasize on this morning was survival techniques. And at 8:30 to 9 o'clock we are going to be crossing over to St. Benedict's And I'm sure those little 8 to 9-year-olds would love to know how to survive in the bush. But I would like to know from you, if you were stuck in the bush and we said, here you go, you've got a backpack, what 3 things would you put in your backpack to survive? Please don't say a case of beer and a jet ski and all of those things. Just simple survival tools. You've got water in the bush, you've got food in the bush, everything else is out here. You'd be surprised at how many things you can find to survive in the bush. Remember that humanity survived in the bush for thousands of years before we developed iPads and iPods and so forth. And here's Brent. Let's see what he has to say. I wonder how far he is on his bird list. The grey-headed bushrock's always a good one. One bird that I'm really trying to see, and I've been looking for 7 years for it, is the gorgeous bushrock. Now that bird is incredible. In a few minutes I'll stop and just show you what it looks like. Morning Brent, morning Dave. How are we doing this morning?
Where you going?
Oh, we're just going to take a drive around and yeah, see what we can find. How's your bird list coming along?
At 1.
Oh, a bit ambitious.
Well, we'll see. I think the most we've ever got is 35. So
Okay.
it's worth the challenge. And we've got the super zoom. I'm going to terrorize Dave.
Okay.
Make him look for little things in trees all day.
Well, good luck, Brent.
Cheers, enjoy.
Good luck.
Danger, Dave. Enjoy.
Good luck, Dave.
So one's a good start. You have to start somewhere. Fuzzman Sparkles wants to know what my favorite bird is. Well, a very good morning, Fuzzman Sparkles. It's a very interesting username, and I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Birds are somewhat amazing. When I first started guiding, it was very difficult to get into birding, and a very wise mentor taught me that birding is something to move on past looking at the big game. And I don't have a particular favorite bird. I do like the bushsharks, all of them, the gorgeous bushshark, the grey-headed, the orange-breasted, even the crimson-breasted bushshark, which is found on the northwest of South Africa. Now, if we're looking for birds in particular, let me tell you a story first before I get into this. I had a gentleman on my vehicle. He was on 4,200 birds, and he came to South Africa to look for another 50 bird species. So we managed to find him around 30 of those 50 that he was looking for. So it's a challenge. It's something that you're always looking for. And if you've got a bird list at home, keep it going. I know some of you are on over 230, so hopefully we can find you some more birds. My favorite bird, or the bird that I'm trying to look for the most, that I spent probably the last 10 years looking for, is the African pitta. Now, the African pitta has been seen in South Africa once or twice. It's more towards the equator, so it's an equatorial bird found in the foresty areas. And I want to stop for a second and just show you what this beautiful bird looks like, because you actually won't believe the coloration it's got on there. So I'm going to get my handy bird book out. Now, if you have a look over here at the bottom right, there's actually 2 of my favorite birds on the page. You'll see in the bottom right the African pitta. It was called an Angola pitta, and on the left the Narina trogon. Now, a lot of people come to South Africa just to look for the Narina trogon. It's got this beautiful iridescent green with this red pigmented sort of belly, and the African pitta's got similar colorations to it. Now, can you believe that bird is so difficult to find? If you look at the distribution over here, it's only been seen 3 or 4 times in South Africa, and quite prominent over the Mozambique area and sort of north of Zimbabwe. What a pleasure. So when I find that bird, I'll be sure to let you know. And ahead of us is probably one of the most underrated creatures in the African bush, the impala. We're going to pull up to these impala and just have a look. Michael says he'll take some water, a knife, and all the African knowledge that he could possibly gain with the question that I asked earlier about what 3 things you'd take in the bush. Well, Michael, knowledge is key to survival, I think. If you don't know what to eat or drink or how to get it, it's not going to be very helpful, is it? So a knife, very, very useful. And water we can find out here. So I would take, instead of water, perhaps something to boil some water, just to make it pure and clean so we can drink it. Now, having a look at this young male impala, you can see the hair on them is slightly puffed up. Have you ever got really, really cold? What happens to your skin? You get goosebumps, don't you? So you'll see the hair on this has expanded, and that expansion allows the warmth to stay within the body area. It's quite a diverse herd here. There's males, females, youngsters. If we have a look at the females on the right there, Jeandre is just going to zoom in for us. See that popping through? A lot of these females will be pregnant right now. The rutting season happens around the first week of May, normally during the first full moon. And they're moving off quite nicely. Oh, Jeandre, have a look on the right here, them jumping across. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh. It's always the ones left at the back that have to hurry up and say, don't go, wait for me, wait for me. We're going to leave these impala. They're heading into some thickets now. What's your favorite thing about an impala? I want to know. I think the fact that they're so diverse in terms of their feeding techniques. They can eat bush and grass, which allows them to survive in just about any ecosystem in South Africa. Now, in South Africa, we've got a very, very diverse ecosystem. The area that we're in at the moment is predominantly savanna. Now, savanna takes up 1/3 of South Africa's land area. And that's quite a large area, considering that if you're from America, welcome. Texas is about the same size as South Africa. So if you've ever driven around Texas, you'll kind of get an idea. You can't just scoot down to Cape Town in a few hours. From here to Cape Town will take you probably about 18 to 20 hours to drive. So it is a huge, huge area. And we're in the far northeastern side, where savanna is very, very prominent. And impala love it. But they'll also live in a grassland area. I've seen them in Albany Thicket around the Eastern Cape. And perhaps if you had to put them in Fynbos area, in the Cape areas, they could possibly survive, but I don't think as well as what they do in the savannah. Right, let's carry on. Let's try pick up some tracks and see what we can find. Oh, I've dropped my microphone piece. I'm just going to chuck this into my pocket quickly. I hope you can all still hear me in the control room. So this morning on controls is Jerry, and Jerry, I want to know from you what animal you want to see this morning, please. A lot of people come through to the bush in Africa thinking it's this dark, deep, dangerous place. But to be honest, animals are a lot more shy of us than we of them. So when we're driving around and we see a lion sleeping in the bushes, everybody's like, oh wow, isn't that going to get in the vehicle, or is it going to attack you if you walk around it? Animals are naturally scared of humans. I have comms, thanks Jerry. Just wanted to make sure my microphone piece fell out, so I just wanted to make sure everybody in the control room can still hear me, and they can. So, we'll come back to survival techniques shortly. In the meantime, Brent has got a second bird on his list that he wants to show you. Brent, what do you have over there?
So the lions have gone to the north, so we're going to concentrate on our birding challenge. There we go. Number 2, slightly damp magpie shrike. Perched hunting, looking for any insects that might be moving about in this cool morning. And we can hear quite a few other birds. I'm just trying to see where they are. There they are. And we can't turn down any opportunity to get a species in that big tree at the back on the right. So you see it there? Yeah. There we go. Noisy Birchall starlings. Also looking a little bedraggled this morning. There's a pair of them. So of course, my attention span is terrible. So you guys out there watching the live safari, you're going to have to keep the numbers list for me. Otherwise, I think if we go beyond 3, I'll forget. So we're right at the edge of my limit of counting. Oh, but I do hear another bird. A noisy bird, making lots of noise up ahead. And it's an arrow-marked babbler. So let's see if we can find them. Now, trees like that over there, we're going to have to keep checking today because some of the jackalberries are fruiting already. So always a good spot to get a few species of birds. And where did those babblers go? There. Oh, there's one there. Yeah. Here we go. Number 4. Oh, I can count beyond 3. The arrow-marked babbler. As you can see, they live in little flocks. There's quite a few of them hopping about there. Let's try to get a little bit closer to them. It is quite dark this morning. Oh, it's Dave. You got one there?
Yeah, just right on the edge.
Oh,
there you go.
let me see. Let's try to get a bit closer. Now, they've taken my advice and gone straight to the big jackalberry tree. Hopping about, but they're quite high up there. And as I said, it's a bit dark and morbid looking today, even though it is great birding weather. Birds love these cool misty mornings. And you can see there's a lot of preening going on at the moment, getting rid of the dampness from the night. Here we go. Arrow-marked babblers. Bird number 4. Now, of course, we're not only looking for birds, we're looking for anything that might be out here. But if you do have any questions, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or questions at WildEarthTV. A very good morning to a very apt name. I Walk in the Rain would like to know how large or small is a lilac-breasted roller. It's probably from outside of your predatory birds and your water birds. We would say it's a medium to large sized bird, probably about the size of a ruler, with the tail 15 centimeters of a short ruler. And what have we there? Good morning, Cape Turtle Dove. very puffed up, looking a little bit displeased with the weather. Now, they prefer nice, bright, shiny weather. The doves, they like to walk around on the ground. Oh, we can hear some francolin calling, but unfortunately we can't see them. I'm sure we will see some later, though. Now, that's probably one of the most common bird species we get here in the Sabi Sands, the Cape turtle dove. Oh, sorry about that. Dave had a bit of a camera mishap there as he was trying to zoom out. So if you feel like someone's been shaking your head, it's exactly what I feel like looking at my monitor. Okay. Hello, a sink lioness in Mississippi. Now, sink lioness is wondering about a bird I've never seen in this part of the world, the crested crane, and she would like to know whether they're aggressive. Only to other crested cranes, really, and only during the breeding season. They've got a very distinct call. I'll see if I can find it for you. I need to put the sound on because otherwise Siri tries to talk to me when I occasionally accidentally push the thing down. Okay. Crane we want to see. And crested cranes are absolutely, well, I think what we're actually referring to is a crowned crane, but I know they call them crested cranes in some parts of East Africa. There we go, a grey crowned crane. And very distinct call. Where I went to boarding school, we used to actually have them quite often and hear them. Okay, that's enough of that. But you can see their distribution. They don't really come where we are, just below us. They tend to stick to moister areas, so you can see the high rainfall zones and areas of a lot of water like the Okavango Delta and the Caprivi. There we go, the grey crowned crane. And there are two different types of crowned cranes in Africa. You get the grey crowned crane, which is in southern Africa, and then you get the northern crowned crane, which is of course further north. Oh, we can hear a francolin going berserk. I can't see it though. Always pays to double check. That he's a bit far from the road for us today. Okay, let's carry on. Now, one of the really, really awesome francolin species, the two of my favorites we get here, is the Shelleys and hello. Those are old lion tracks. The Shelleys, I think this is where they came from last night. There's the whole pride walking down the road. The Shelleys and the Koki francolin. And in this very dry weather with not a lot of ground cover, they're two of the harder ones to see because they like to skulk. And I am hoping that we spot those, but I did spot something. It is unfortunately not something to add to our list, but since we're doing birds, it's quite interesting. Now, normally, you see it there, darling? Yeah, the nest. Now, I'm trying to see, normally around a little nest like that, there should be a paper wasp's nest. It looks like a little blue waxbill nest, but unfortunately no one's at home. So they build their nests next to wasps, and it's one of their defense mechanisms, and I'm pretty sure maybe on the other side of that nest there's a paper nest, a paper wasp's nest as well. Okay, so let me just have a quick look there. What tracks are those? There's a Howard, there's a hyena. So I just want to go to this little corner, see if there's anything here. This is the boundary between Torchwood, Buffelshoek and Djuma. I'm quite quite a busy zone from time to time when it comes to animal tracks, but it looks like it's been quiet overnight. So while we continue our endeavors to see what else we can find here in the African bush, let's go see how Ryan's doing, and he's up to the west of me.
Well, it sounds like Brent is doing a fantastic job of finding you those bird species. He's only got about 46 more to go. Not too bad with 2 hours left, I suppose. This morning, I want to show you something really interesting. I'm going to show you how a ruminant's digestive system works. But before we do that, if you have any questions, I'm going to take my earpiece out. Please ask Jean-Andre, and control room will send that question through to Jean-Andre and ask me while I'm doing this. So I'm going to pull my earpiece out, so goodbye, and let's see what we have here. So a lot of the areas you'll find are quite thick, where we've come across this nice open sodic area, and sodic areas are just a high density of salts, and so things struggle to grow here. Although this isn't quite a proper sodic area, it's sort of edging towards it, and it's a really good place to find elephant dung, giraffe, zebra, whatever else animals occur here. So by the end of this show, I all want you to be qualified poologists, and that's very important. If we have a look at this dung over here, and we bring it through to you, I'm actually going to get quite a few different pieces. For any of you those that actually like horse riding or have seen horses in the wild, this one's not so great, but you can kind of see where I'm going. It's sort of like a bean shape, and we can break that nicely in half, just like that. This is from a zebra, and you can see predominant grass inside there, as they are bulk grazers. We can see it's not all that well digested. It breaks up pretty easily. And please don't worry about picking up any herbivore dung. Herbivore dung is quite alright to pick up. It's the carnivore dung that is not so great. It has a huge amount of bacteria, and you might get a little bit ill if you had to contaminate your lips or any food with it. So this is perfectly alright. Earlier on we saw the Impala running across the road, and there's quite a nice little midden going on here. Now a midden is an area that they do territorial marking with, so an Impala will come here over and over again, and he will say basically, hey mate, this is my area, don't touch my females or else I'm going to give you the boot. So if we have a look at some of this dung, and some of this is fairly fresh over here, you can see somewhat cylindrical. Well, they're all cylindrical, I suppose. And this is quite fresh. And have a look at how fine this is over here. Now, the reason for it being so fine is because they have adapted a special type of stomach to make sure that they absorb up to 60% of what they eat. Unlike elephants or rhino, that only absorb about 40% of what they eat. And yesterday, Taylor was showing you the nyala and how they regurgitate. And I'm sure some of you saw that sort of peristalsis going up and down the throat. And that's how they take it from their main stomach, chew it again to make it finer, and go back into the main stomach. And now I'm going to try to show you. And please excuse me if you can't see this all that well. Jean-Jay will let me know, and we'll try something else later. I'll probably draw it for you. So now I need a stick. There we go, this one will do. Jean-Jay, how's this over here? Is that okay?
Come a bit closer.
How's that?
Even closer.
Even closer?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we talk about the throat, the animal, excuse my drawing, so that's the head of the animal. That'll go down the esophagus. Now the esophagus has these wave-like movements that push the bolus or the food down in a wave-like movement, like I just said, into a major stomach over here, which is not the true stomach, called a rumen. Now the rumen is like the engine of the stomach system. It'll go down And all the pieces, the bigger pieces, will sit at the top here. At the bottom of the rumen there's a thing called a reticulum. Now the reticulum has this sort of sieve-like structure, and all the finer food that has been chewed properly will go and pass through this tiny little sieve-like structure. The top pieces will get regurgitated back up and chewed again until they're fine enough to pass through here. And then it goes into the intestine. And the intestine goes like this, I'm sure you all know that. And in the intestine, there's two other stomachs called a reticulum, and I've gone completely blank on the other one now. The reticulum is the true stomach of the animal. And so this is where most of the digestive sort of happenings will take place. And then it'll pass out and it'll end up just like this over here. And we've got some wildebeest dung, some of it a little bit clustered together like this. You can see they're a little bit more irregular than the Impala, which is broken apart. And of course all the bigger pieces there, and you can see quite a redness to those bigger pieces, would be elephant dung. So this also is a ruminant. Okay.
Brent's found another bird.
I want to send you back to Brent. He's found us another bird. Hopefully it's a nice exciting one. If it's a gorgeous bushrock, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. But let's carry on and see what we can find.
There we go. Not a gorgeous bushrock. I think all of us would be jumping for joy if we found a gorgeous bushrock in this part of the Sabi Sands. But there we go. It is a bateleur. A member of the snake eagle family. And of all the birds, the raptors are going to, or the big raptors are really not going to be huge fans of this weather. They're waiting for it to warm up so they can catch some of those warm thermals. And even like the little birds, doing a bit of preening, sorting out the feathers. They are exquisite birds. Incredible eyesight as well. They are experts at finding carcasses, and they often spot them far before vultures. They do fly at a lower height than vultures, and often vultures, if they see a bateleur going to ground, they know there's something good there. Now it takes a bateleur 8 years to get that beautiful adult plumage, and for that 8 years they're quite dull brown looking birds, but as soon as they reach adulthood they definitely bloom into these incredibly wonderful creatures. Right, let's leave the bateleur to its preening. We've got birds to find. I think we're on 5. Well, the birds fly to us. And there we go. Not the best view. Let me just try and move around a bit. But it is you look like a yellow-billed hornbill. Oh, there's another one. Up at the top. There we go. Not the best view, but one of our more common bird species, and another one for the list. Come on, there we go. Show us. There we go, your yellow bill. And I've got a plan. I'm going to hit the birding hotspots of Djuma. So we're going to start making our way through the crest area. So what I'm looking for in the crest here is I'm looking for a bird party. Now a bird party has often up to 5 or 6 species in it, and they move around foraging together. And then hopefully we find a nice sort of bird party up here in the broad-leaved woodland of the Combretum zone. And after that we're going to make our way down towards the river systems and hope for some of the skulkers that we might find in that area. Some robins, bush shrikes. But for now, let's explore the Combretum woodland. Now, Gary's asking us about a very rare bird. It's called a Cheetah falcon. And there's only one place in South Africa that they occur. which is near Hoedspruit up in the mountains, and it is one of the rarest birds in southern Africa. The best place in southern Africa to actually see them is around Victoria Falls in the gorge. They nest there, but as far as I know, there are only 2 nesting pairs in South Africa. And let me see, I know I have a picture of one here somewhere. That's it. Very, very, very beautiful. Very rare in South Africa. And where's it? There we go, all that. Look at that. So, there we go. That's around Hoedspruit. Those are the 3 dots. There's only 3 nesting pairs known in the whole of South Africa. The rest of them, the Zambezi River actually forms the border of Zimbabwe over there in Zambia. And you can see around the mountain gorges and stuff there, and up into the eastern highlands of Zimbabwe. So they generally like mountains, and they exclusively nest on cliffs. So a very good place to see them is in Zambia and Zimbabwe around Victoria Falls. I saw Taita falcon in January when I was at Victoria Falls. We actually saw it from a whitewater raft. Okay, come on, bird party. Hi, Jen, or Gen B. Jen says if a basilia takes 8 years to become an adult, how long do they live for? Jen, they live for about 40 years. A very long-lived bird. Let's just quickly check for any tracks. Now, it seems when I start birding, Karula pops out, just to thwart my bird list, so fingers crossed that she does that today. Ooh, what's that down the road there? But we don't have any tracks yet. She's been a bit scarce since I've been back. I thought I saw something. I did see something, but I think it's a bird we might already have on our list. And it is indeed the yellow-billed hornbill in that dead tree there, and a better view, so we will stop for a quick look. Also doing his morning preening. Oh, but they've behind the yellow-billed hornbill. Oh no, don't fly away! No, come back! Where are you going to land? Was an African grey hornbill. Yes. I've been told by Final Control that that did not count. Okay, so let's just try and find that African grey hornbill. Hopefully it hasn't flown off too far. Pretty sure he flew into... There he is. On the lower branch of that little marula tree there. There we go, you can see a very different coloured bill from the red and yellow-billed hornbill, and I think we might be lucky with the hornbill species. They're going to help us this morning. We've got one more common hornbill to find, the red-billed, which I'm quite confident we'll find. And unfortunately, all the bird parties seem to be away from the roads at the moment. Ooh, I do hear some birds up ahead though. Little birds. I like little birds a lot. Okay. Now, this is where the cameramen start sweating in panic when I say little birds, because they can be this big. Okay. Around here in these weeping wattles. Ooh. Sounds like we're coming up on a bird party. Let's go 20 meters forward. Ooh, what do we got there? I can't really see at the moment. A little bit up depth. There we go. Oh, that's a good one. I'm hoping it moves into a little bit area where we can see it slightly better. But I just got a brief glimpse of the face. There it is. And it's a very distinctive face. Now, oh, come on. You think forward or back? What do you think, Dave? Back. Oh, it's going to move. But I'm actually going to let you guys ID this one. Sorry about all the... Oh, no. Wait, they're still there. There's a pair of them, actually. Oh, I don't think we're going to get a view. Anyway, there was enough to ID there. So, and I see a bird party up ahead. So there was enough to ID that. If you know what bird that was, it's going to be a bit tricky. But send your answers through to questions@WildEarthTV or use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Okay, here we go. There's some birds up to the left. I can hear quite a lot calling as well. So we found a bird party up in the sort of broadleafed woodland. We've got arrow-marked babblers, which we've already seen, but I'm just going to try. I saw another bird. Where did it go? Let's just switch off for a second. You can hear there's a little bird party. They are a little bit far from the road. Where are you? Oh dear. They're playing tricks with me. They're just a little bit too far, even for the super zoom. We will keep up with our endeavor. I'm hoping to find a bird party that surrounds us. Now, there's a couple of species we're looking for, especially in this area, and it's going to be the scimitar bulls, your wood hoopoes, and southern black tits, crombecs, maybe if we're lucky in a palace. So there are lots of species to look for in this area, but quite often, as I said, they move in bird parties, so you go through quite large gaps without those little birds all frolicking about. Okay, so we're going to keep searching for birds and anything else that might be out here. So while, oh wait, we're just going to get one in the bank quickly before we go back to Ryan. And it is one of our more common species. Got him there, Dave. There we go. Oh no, there's another one out in the open to the... Oh, there's two. Okay, wait. Come out. So you see the fork-tailed drongo? Yep. Go to the branch, the main stem of that tree. Go down, and I'll zoom center frame. There you go. Blue waxbill. Little blue waxbill. And of course the fork-tailed drongo as well. And I think the waxbill is going to be a harder one to get than the fork-tailed drongo. Oh, off it goes. So while we keep searching for other little creatures of the feathered variety, let's go see how Ryan's exploration of Djuma is going.
Well, a very good morning. If you've just joined us, Brent is in search of some birds. He has got 50 to find this morning. He's on 11 at this stage. If you have any questions, remember to hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or send any of your queries to questions at WildEarthTV. So I just went a bit blank there. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here. Men are not very good at multitasking, so please excuse me. I'm trying to look for something exciting. Jennifer still wants us to find baby elephants, which will hopefully happen this morning. I'm not quite sure. And we are going to carry on driving around in search of anything exciting. So if you have anything you'd like to see, let us know. Now, Brent, I've got a challenge for you. I would like to see a ground hornbill. You've seen some yellow-billed hornbills as well as grey hornbills. So a ground hornbill is a very rare species to see. And there are not a lot left in the world, unfortunately. One of the reasons being is that they don't breed they don't breed very well. They only have 1 to 2 chicks every 7 to 9 years, and if any of you have ever seen a ground hornbill, it's a lot bigger than its distant cousins, the yellow-billed, red-billed or grey hornbill. It stands about this sort of high, and it's got this extremely long beak with this massive red pouch in the bottom, and in Shangaan we call it a... Just 1 second, I thought I heard something there. What was that? I don't know what that was. I thought I heard something a little bit different, but carrying on. Now, talking about a ground hornbill in Shangaan, they call it an inga tutu, which means after its call it goes tutu 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 tutu, and that's made with that massive sort of pouch under its sac. Now, let me show you what it actually looks like quickly, because some of you are probably guessing what this fascinating bird is. We generally find them in groups of 5 to 6. Reason being is that there's an alpha female and an alpha male that do the breeding, and then they have about 3 or 4 males that help look after the young. Now these males will stick with them for the rest of their life and allow the alpha male and female to breed every 7 to 9 years. The females will move off and they'll go and try and find their own little sort of clutch of hornbills, but you can see this massive red pouch over here that they use to make that sound, and the female's got a bit of blue under her pouch, which is not nearly as big as the males, and that's because the males do all the vocalizing. Typical ground hornbill gets its name because it's always on the ground looking for snakes, beetles. It'll even eat carrion from a carcass. So they are very, very diverse creatures, and this typically would be a good area to find them. They do prefer open areas, but being savanna, you can find them almost anywhere. Now I'm just trying to see if there's any tracks crossing over here. Not much happening here. There's an old lion track, relatively old, and some old buffalo tracks, but nothing too fresh that we can follow up on. Now Arcadia is asking what classifies this area as savanna. Now Arcadia, very good morning to you. It's great to have you on our show. Arcadia, it's all done under types of, I'd say, ways that the bush grow. So for instance, this is a mixture between trees and grass, where something like grassland would just be completely grassland with 1 or 2 trees. Something like forests would be huge, massive forests, very thick undergrowth. Something like Albany thicket, which is found off the east coast, would be densely populated. Things like speckboom. So certain species of trees also make it sort of into its classification. Desert, I'm sure you're pretty aware of what that is. Fynbos type of smaller, robust, woody plants. And then if you go into the Karoo, you get Nama Karoo and Succulent Karoo, and that comes after its name, succulents. So that's what classifies savanna, is a different type of species as well as a mixture between trees and grass. I hope that answers your question. So while we carry on looking for some tracks and that elephant for Jennifer, I'm going to hand you over to Brent, as he's got a little bird party, and hopefully he can lift the species numbers up.
Okay, so we are surrounded by birds at the moment. They are... Okay, there we go, okay. Through there. Beyond our favourite tree. Let me just go forward slightly. No, actually just stay. Come out a bit. Oh, I got a little bit higher. Oh dear, no. I think I can see it. But you can't. Let's just go forward. So I can also hear a woodpecker around here. I've heard a scimitar. So there's quite a lot of stuff around. I'm just going to stop here. We can listen for a second. There we go. There we go. That's one of the specific birds we've been looking for in this area. The southern black tit. Whoop, off it pops. Now, there's quite a few other birds. We just have to be a little bit patient and wait for them to show themselves to us. You've got something? Oh, what have you got in the background there? Oh, it's the southern black tit. I can hear a little crombeck. So at least we got the southern black tit out of this bird party. Now that was one of the specifics we... Oh, there we go. Okay, on the ground. There, in that little bush, something flew there. A little bit up, I think. Oh, you got it? Oh, there we go. Dave's found something frolicking around in the base there. Come on, pop your head up. I think I know what it is. Let's just wait for a slightly better view. It looks like a little rattling cisticula. Well, we can't be sure yet because he's hiding in the base. Come on, pop up. Well, a really, really great answer from Bridget in Johannesburg. It was a very difficult bird, that bird quiz. It was a Karachani thrush, and that is a very difficult bird. That little rattling cisticula is not playing along, but I'm quite sure we'll find another one at some stage, so I'm just going to move forward. Oh, Dave's got something. Oh, there we go. Well done, Dave. White helmet strike. Oh, there he goes. Well, not the best view we've ever had of one, but definitely one for the list. Let's see if we go forward or back. Oh. Here we go. Oh, Murphy's Law. Now, they're also very commonly members of these bird parties. So I think there's quite a lot of action going on just beyond. I'm just going to move forward slightly and see if we spot any movement. Okay, we're going to keep moving on. I think that bird party's moved a little bit further off. Hi, I think Lioness would like to know, have I ever seen a pygmy falcon and what are they like? Well, isn't that quite a good question, since I'm still on the falcons on my book, or I suppose it's not a book, it's a digital version of the book. I'm trying to find one for you now. Oh dear. Pygmy falcon, and what are they like? They're very, very cool little birds, but they generally live in the arid parts of South Africa. There we go. And they are about 20 centimeters long. They're very, very small. There we go. That's the pygmy falcon. And you'll see here now, shortly, there we go. So they live in the desert areas of northern South Africa and into Namibia. So I've seen them in the Kalahari National Park, which is in that dark green section, and that's one of their favorite areas. And they actually are quite common in the arid area. But outside, as you can see where we are, no pygmy falcons, unfortunately. We have seen... Oh, there's a lion. Oh, I don't know, I just caught the end of something. It sounded like it could be a lion, but very far away. Ah, there's a There's a one for the list. That's a nice easy one to get. Through between those two trees right at the top of the marula, hopping around. The grey go-away bird. I'm just listening to see if we can hear another bird party up ahead. The birds are really vocal this morning. I'm going to give the broad-leafed woodland a bit of a break. Maybe we'll come back. We'll definitely come back through it at some stage. But we're going to now head down towards the Mawati river system and see if we can get some robins or other creatures like that like the thickets around little riverbeds. Yeah, so there's a couple of birds that we really just want to get through because we're going to see them and it'll give us a chance to focus on the harder bird species to find. Okay, I haven't done this road in a very long time. So Michael's wondering about owl species and how many species we get in the Sabi Sand and which is my favorite. Well, Michael, let me just think. We get Varroes, spotted eagle. There are records of Cape Eagle owl, but they're very rare. There's even records of Pel's fishing owl, but they're very rare. We won't get them up here. It'll be around the rivers. There's barred owlet, scops owlet, pearl spotted owlet, and white-faced scops owl. I think that's all of them. So 7. My favorite is the white-faced scops owl. They're really pretty to look at. And I can hear some birds making noise. And it's magpie shrikes. We've seen those already. Let me just see if I can find the owl for you. So, I don't know, I just find the white-faced owls very, very cool to look at. They're quite small. Where's that bird? I can hear you, Roller. Now, where are you hiding? Sorry, I've been sidetracked by a roller calling. Oh, there it goes. Just behind the tree. Well, at least we keep the cameraman working hard when we do birds. Let's just go forward a little bit, see if we can get a better view. You see him, Dave? I can hear him making lots of noise. Got it. Dave's got him. Here we go. Lilac-breasted roller. Beautiful bird with a not so beautiful voice. One of the 2 resident species of roller we get here. The other one, of course, is the purple rufous crowned. And we do have a nesting pair of them on quarantine, so we might have to take a meander past there later. Okay, well, let's leave the roller. We're going to continue on our birding endeavour. I'm not sure how many species. What do you think we are now? About 15, I reckon, somewhere around there. So there's still quite a bit of work to do. So while we try find some other feathered creatures, let's go see how Ryan's getting along.
Well, getting back to survival techniques, we are looking at a really interesting tree that is probably going to give you something quite nice in the morning. It's called a weeping boerbean, or a Scotia brachipetata. Now the Scotia is very well known for its huge beans that it produces. Now, any of you coffee fans out there, this is something that you could use to survive in the early morning, just to get you up and about, like most people do, I think. So what the old settlers used to do, talking back now to the 1820s, is they used to take the beans from this weeping boer bean, and just like you'd make coffee, they would roast them and then grind them and make a coffee. Now, I don't think it took off too well, as nobody would be in their right mind to go to the shop and ask for a weeping boer bean coffee, so please don't do that. We have survival techniques out here, and there are certain little joys that we find in certain trees. Now, if you look to your left at this tamburti over here, this tamburti is also very useful. Don't ever burn or make a fire with this wood. It's got a high toxin rate with a chemical called rotinant in it, and this is very, very bad. It'll make you extremely ill if you use this for firewood. But if you have a toothache, you could take the sap and drip it on that nerve ending, which would get rid of a toothache, which I'm sure none of us would want when we lost in the bush. So very, very importantly, we need to find and use this knowledge to survive out here. This is the tamburti. The Bushmen, in fact, used to use this on their spearheads as a poison. And what made the Bushmen such good trackers was they used to put this on their spearhead, stalk up to the creature, and it would take quite a few days for the poison to actually kick in. And they would follow these animals for miles and miles and miles until the animal eventually fell down from exhaustion and from the poison from this tamburti tree. So if you find yourself in a position where you can sort of build yourself a bow and arrow, and if you're good enough to stalk an antelope, well, good luck. That's all I have to say. It's easier just to go down to the local butchery, I think. So we're going to carry on. So earlier I asked what 3 things you'd take with you to survive out here in the African bush. And Maggie M, a very good morning to you, Maggie, from Australia. I hope it's not too cold down that side of the world. But a Swiss Army knife, a great idea. That thing can do so many things for you. A ball of string and a first aid kit. Well, that is most certainly useful if you're looking to survive in the African bush. Now, later on at 8:30, we have St. Benedict's joining us from Johannesburg, and I'm actually going to teach you how to make some string or rope with a certain tree out here. And it's almost as good as you'd buy it at the DIY store in your local town. And many more survival techniques to come as we're driving around the Djuma concession in the Sabi Sands, which is part of the greater Kruger National Park. My earpiece has just come loose, so I'm going to put that back in, otherwise Jerry won't be able to talk to me. It's fascinating how we can just drive around, and I know we haven't seen a lot of antelope species this morning, but that's the beauty of it. If we had to see everything on a daily basis, how boring would this place be? It would just be like a zoo, and we are far from a zoo. We have to drive around for ages looking for these creatures this morning, which is perfectly fine. Some mornings you might drive for the first 10 minutes and see everything. So we don't want that every morning. We want to stay excited, entertained, and of course intrigued by these animal species. Brett's doing extremely well. He's over 14 species now of birds. Oh, look here, look here, look here. Have a look at this amazing little creature. Now this is something quite unique to see. It's a young male steenbok that is just walking around. You can see he's a little bit wet from the early morning rains. But what's unique about it is he's so relaxed. normally because they're solitary creatures, they can sometimes be a little bit more shy and anxious than, say, a herd of impala. You can see his little spear horns. Now the steenbok, it is one of the smallest antelopes in our area, or it actually is the smallest antelope in our area, and it's a young, it looks like a young male, but it's actually fully grown. I wonder where the female is. Now, these are monogamous creatures, so male and female will stay together or pair together for life. And often within an area like this, you'll find the female's not too far away. Something fascinating about these creatures, they're very specific feeders. Now, I'm going to ask you a question quickly. If an impala weighs roughly 50 to, well, let's talk about the females, 30 to 40 kgs as a female, and a steenbok female weighs between 6 and 12 kgs, an impala's gestation is about 6.5 to 7 months. What do you think the gestation of a steenbok is? Now think about it. They're solitary. They eat specific types of vegetation. So, is it longer or is it shorter than that of an impala? Let's drive around the corner. Let's see if we can find the female. And you'll actually notice the female is somewhat bigger than the male. And that should give you a little hint to the question that I'm asking you. Let's look carefully. They're so well camouflaged. The word steenbok, it comes from baksteen, which means brick, like those old school red bricks that people used to build the municipality buildings with. Sorry, I have to see something a little lighter than normal. It could just be a little termite mound. Just trying to have a look with my bins here quickly. Can you see that there? No, it's actually just a leaf. It almost looks like the rear end of some small cat. Carl, I'm glad you enjoyed that steenbok sighting. Animal sightings are incredible. Something as small as a steenbok, which you don't get to see every day, it's quite nice to spend some time with. And that's the beauty about my job. There's no rush. There's nobody saying I need to be here or there at any single time. We're just driving around enjoying what we do. So Carl, I'm glad you enjoyed looking at that steenbok. I can't seem to find this female. She could be in the vicinity. So earlier I said, what is the gestation of a steenbok? And you're not allowed to Google it either. That's just cheating. And Dave says 4 months. Dave, it is a little bit longer than 4 months. It's almost 6 to 6.5 months. And why I say 6 to 6.5 months is purely because depending on the area that they're in will determine certain species gestation. So why do you think it is long, or that same gestation is of an impala? Now, one of the reasons being is that because they're solitary creatures, fantastic, sorry. There we go. Dave, I'll get back to you on that question. Have a look in the distance there. Just want to go a little bit forward. How's that for you, Chandra? Jennifer, look what we have here. We have just found an ellie. And it is a spectacular sighting with the sun piercing through this thin cloud, and it has even started to rain. In South Africa we call this a monkey's wedding. I'm not quite sure why they call it a monkey's wedding. Hopefully I'll be able to answer that for you a little bit later. Let's head around and see what this ellie is up to. It looks like an elephant bull, not a baby, but still an elephant. Alright, I'm going to hand you over to Brent shortly, see what his bird list is looking like, It has started to rain a bit, so we just have to cover our cameras up and take it from there. So we are going to just prepare Brent for a link through and see what he's got. I wonder if he's got the hornbill that we're looking for. I hope so. Any of you want to see a ground hornbill? Stick with Brent.